Cover Price's top 10 hottest comics of the week. This is based off of Cover Price's data. We do this each and every week, and the list is different each week. You know, we're a show that obviously we're live Friday night. You guys are watching us live right now or watching us on, video on demand or whatever. Now, this list comes out on Monday, but we like to talk about it on Friday. And then Chris dissects it because he'll give you 3 of his most interesting issues on that list. They may not be the top 3, but he will give you his 3 most interesting issues on the list. So, Chris, we're going to get started right now. We're going to talk about the top 10 right here. What we have is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. At number 10, we have Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Adventures number 1, the first appearance of KRANG, BEEBOP, and ROCKSTEADY in a comic book. Number 9 is Gotham Academy number 1. Number 8 is Spawn 311, McFarlane's Chadwick Boseman's tribute. It's the black and white variant. Number 7 is Michelangelo, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle number 1. Number 6 is Batgirl number 50, the Dodson B variant. It's the first Ryan Wilder. She will be appearing as the new Batwoman in the CW series. We talked about that last week. Number 5 is Moon Knight number 1. This is getting a lot of love lately. Number 4 is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: The Last Ronin number 1, regular cover. Number 3 is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: The Last Ronin number 1, the 1 in 10 Kevin Eastman variant. Number 2 is The Strange Talent of Luther Strode number 1. That is an Image book that just got picked up. And then number 1 is Batgirl number 50, the regular cover. Chris, it's definitely an interesting week here. We don't see a spider book.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy, but hey, give credit where credit's due. With all the hotness that's going on, I will say I never talk about a runner-up, but I want to briefly state if I had to pick a runner-up this week, it would be that Moon Knight number 1, Oscar Isaac announcement. I mean, we talked about that last week. What I didn't pick it because I'm going to make a guess that it's going to be here next week, and if it is, we'll talk about it then. But yeah, with that being said, let's get into my top 3 picks. Starting at number 3, and I had to pick this for nostalgic reasons, but also because it's blowing my mind what it's doing, and that's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Adventures number 1. This is the Archie Adventures. This is the 1 in 3 mini series before the ongoing title. Now, guys, this book for me means so much. But before I go into that, let's talk about what this book is in and of itself. And it is the first appearance of KRANG, BEEBOP, and ROCKSTEADY in a comic book. Sales, guys, 206% increase in sales over the last 7 days. And get this, a 9.6 CGC. 9.6. I didn't even say 9.8. I said 9.6. $380. Wow. So, guys, here's a little nostalgia and why it means something to me. But, I mean, those numbers should blow your guys' mind, too. This is my first ever comic book, okay? This is the Random House softcover collection of the 3 books, 1, 2, and 3, okay? This is the first comic my mom got me off the spinner rack at an Alpha Beta grocery store. It is well loved. And shortly after that, wow, my love for Ninja Turtles, my love for comic books. What did I have to get? But the Adventures single issues. Now, you guys can probably see, look at that. This guy is well loved. This ain't no 9.6. It's going to sell for $380. Well loved. It's got a color crease in here too, right around the top. But it can get a press. I'd probably put this book maybe even after a press at about maybe a 6.0. But to have this book and to see that this book is selling for $380 blows my mind. I've held on to these books for, over 30 years, and there was never anything in my mind about having these books because they would be this valuable at some point. And I know now my next pick kind of correlates with that, but Jeff, you wanted to kind of just jump in here and share your thoughts before I dive into that.
No, I'm just loving that. I'm loving the love for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Like, it's, again, there's 3 books on the top 10 this week. 4 books. I'm sorry, 4 turtle books on the top 10 this week. And it, Serge, he said he thinks he had that book as well. I love it because, again, it all brings us back to, when we're younger and how new and fresh these characters were and how amazing. Granted, it's not the ones that we were introduced to are completely different to the one, because they were gritty and nasty and raw in the first comic books, but they exploded on the scene, kind of died down, and now it's good to see they're getting the love that they deserve. And there's a certain reason why, I think, for a book that came out this week, which we'll get to.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. And that's my number 2 pick, guys. And I just came off reading this book, finally got it for my pre-order, and that's Last Ronin, number 1. So this is my number 2. And this correlates with my number 3 pick because this book right here is just so hot right now, and people are just, it's revitalizing this franchise. I read it and I'm like, I cannot wait to read issue 2. I already pre-ordered 2 copies of issue 2. What this is doing is so refreshing right now. And for me, like, my love for comic books started with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. My love for art, I'm an artist, started with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles when I was like 3-4 years old, and I was drawing Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles every day on everything, right? So coming off of this book is hot right now, not just because of the speculative hype. Like, people want to read this story and they're like, wow, what is going on in this book? It's really amazing. I think they're doing really well with the story so far after the first issue. Guys, this book right now, raw, is, you're probably not going to find it for, less than around 40 to 50 bucks right now. It sold 128 copies last week. That's intense, guys. Especially for, the fact that it's getting harder to find on the market right now, and people are willing to pay that higher dollar amount for those that are still willing to sell it. 206%, or excuse me, only a 69% increase in sales, but 128 copies. That speaks volumes. A 9.8 CGC is already going for $120. So, man, big shout out to what IDW is doing with The Last Ronin.
I got 2 comments here as to where that book is and why in the market. First, a lot of people are just hot on it because they don't know who The Last Ronin is. First, before it came out, is that a new turtle? But people are starting to realize it's one of the brothers, but they don't know who because he has all the weapons, right? And the reason it's so hot is because, there were multiple mess ups in terms of the order. IDW did not deliver what they promised on the variants and things like that. So there's been a lot of that going on, which has got people feeling like they're scrambling. However, with all of that being said, they still produced over 100 some odd thousand books, right? That's a big number, especially for an independent. And I think that price is going to come down. You can definitely find lower prices on eBay, lower than 40 bucks. I found one for $18. I'll admit, I flipped mine. I sold mine for 22 bucks.
Yeah. When did you buy it?
I regret selling it. I'm going to get another one.
When did you buy that?
When the day it came out.
Okay, yeah. So that's already the demand and what's driving that price up. And to your point, I'm telling you guys, that price has been. I agree. It's gonna come down some, but I think the reason why that price is so high is because people want to read the book. It's not available for digital right now, and it's not that this isn't like, what was a. I mean, we talk about these books every week, like the one in 25 Jimenez Batman 89 or 92 variant or whatever that and it's it shoots up to 200 and then it drops down to 8. Like, people are seriously spending $40 on this book because I think people want to read this book.
It's a good story. I mean, the premise is amazing too. That's why. And there's a mystery. Who is this turtle?
Absolutely.
Who is this turtle? That's cool. And it's reinvigorating the turtle, the whole turtle mania. And Isaac Miner says, "Hey guys, turtle power." We agree.
Yeah. And and there was a lot of delays as well too with this book. Months. And then I know that some of the some people's pre-orders were canceled because certain distributors or LCSs didn't get the amount that they were supposed to get. So there's a lot of people just trying to get their hands on this book, and it's a very unique situation. But I love it, man. I love that there is a lot of unique pull wanting for folks wanting this book specifically just to really read the story and to find out what's going on. So
yeah, I regret selling mine. I'm going to pick it up again, no doubt. I'm going to pick it up. I should have it by next week. I hope. I'm excited to read the story. All right, moving on. Your last book of the week, number 1.
All right, really cool because I had all of my picks here that I decided to pick for my top 3, and my number 1 is Batgirl, number 50. Boom, beautiful, Josh Middleton. Yep, there it is. There, guys, first appearance of Ryan Wilder, the new CW Batwoman. Now, there was so much negative hate coming out as soon as this was announced. Like, who is this character? This isn't Batwoman. This isn't even somebody in the comic books. Well, guess what? She is in the comic books. I haven't read it yet. I don't know what's going on and how they're introducing her. But I think it's cool that they decided to tie this character into the books. This book is hot. Both covers, cover A and cover B, were both in the top 10. The original cover alone sold 169 copies. I think the B variant sold about maybe like 119 or somewhere around there. So, you're pushing 300 copies of this book if you take into consideration both covers. But 169 copies of this book, it was the number 1 of the top 10. 297% increase in sales, $40 for a high raw grade. Now, I have this book as my number 1 pick for a couple of reasons. For one, because again, 300% increase in sales, $40 for a high raw for a book that's just come out. And look, first, again, I usually say this when I talk about usually like the haters out there, they're really a minority because people are buying this book. Okay. But the thing I really want to point out is this book just came out and it's going for $40. All right. So what do people do when that happens? The book comes out and just days later, it's already going for $40. This is ruining, speculation is ruining the hobby. For us collectors that just want to collect to read the books, we shouldn't have to pay $40 for a brand new book. The comic book industry is being killed. It's not going to exist because of all this stuff. Guys, I'm going to tell you something. I want to ask you guys, you know how much I paid for this book? Jeff, what do you think I paid for this book?
I'm gonna tell them what you paid for. You paid 30% below cover price. Am I right?
35.
35% below cover price.
35, which is like what, I think it's like $265, somewhere around there or something.
Which is a fraction of $40.
Right. Why? Why is that? Why? Because this came out in November. I pre-ordered. That's 3 months in advance. So what's that? August?
Mm-hmm.
Right? It was the August preview sale for my comic shop that I sat down, said, oh, look, new previews are up. Got on my laptop. I spent, 10, 15 minutes going through all the new releases that were coming out in November. And I said, oh, that one looks cool. I want that one. That one looks cool. I want that one. Oh, look, a Josh Middleton cover. I want that one. Or maybe, oh, look, I read Batgirl, so I'm going to get it every month it comes out. Bing, put it in my cart. Guys, again, if you didn't get this book and you're mad that it costs $30 to $40 right now, and you are complaining that it's that price because you just want to read the book, you're a liar. You're a liar. Because if you just wanted to read the book, you probably would have bought it when you could for not just cover price, but undercover price. And or you could just go on to Comixology and download the digital copy for $3.99.
Yeah, I mean, you just do your work. By the way, this is a beautiful cover. I love this cover, man. I absolutely love this cover. And a lot of people wanted to jump on this because of the Ryan Wilder. That came out later. That info came out later. That was not in the solicitations. Am I right?
Right. Right, exactly.
So
So when when you were able to do the pre-order, so and I jump on them real quick, but you could do a pre-order almost at least through like the first 3 weeks of that month. It's there,
yeah.
and then I think like certain like I know Midtown you could still get them for 15% off
Hmm.
like a month before. So even if you miss it during that initial previews month, but during that whole initial previews month, yeah, there was no announcement yet. So again, if you're buying it specifically for speculation reasons, then you are a speculator that is speculating on the book and you don't just care about reading the story. And look, I will say, I know I'm being serious, but I know I'm being funny at the same time. I'm busting your guys' balls and whatnot. But I know there are people that like don't like reading digital comics, and that's one thing too. Maybe you wanted to read it just because of the announcement of Ryan Wilder. And maybe you didn't know during the previews, but it was announced before it came out. And you could have still had time to buy it at like a 15% off from like a Midtown, or you still had time to call your comic book shop and say, hey, I want Batgirl in my pull list. You still had enough time to do that. If the only reason you wanted to buy it was because of Ryan Wilder. But I will say, look, guys, if you really want to buy it and you don't want to read the digital, and because you only read by holding the book in your hand, I can look for a second print.
Mm.
All right. And another thing is that it's DC especially, they're putting out trade paperbacks. They're putting out the graphic novels right as soon as 6 issues were like they're putting them out. When there's the 6 issues, it's usually six to eight, a story arc or whatever it is. As soon as those issues release, you'll see the trade volume up and you can get the trade volume
Yeah.
in a previews order for up to 35% off as well. So hey, you just have to have a little patience. Maybe wait a couple months for either a second print or just to get it in the trade so you can actually have it in your hands and read.
To be fair, I think this information came out within like 2 weeks of the issue coming out, maybe even a week. So it's kind of hard. But for people to be pissed at that point, thinking speculators are ruining it, I can understand what they're saying. If people are walking into a comic book shop, grabbing 10 copies and walking out, that's bullshit. I'll agree with that. I don't think that's cool. Because if you want to be able to walk in the shop the day of, I don't agree with that, right? I think, especially with comic book shops, hey, I mean, like, because there's everyday life that you have, and right? What are you going to do at that point?
No. I'm going to argue against everyday life. It took me 10. It takes you minutes to go on and do an order. It takes you minutes to call your local comic book shop and tell them to put it put it on your pull list. What I will empathize with what you're saying is this. I don't necessarily agree with people that go into the comic book shop and buy 10, 15 copies off the shelf just because they want to go flip them and try to make money. But I'm not mad at them either, because guess what? If I could go into a comic book shop and there's 10 issues or 20 issues of this on the shelf, and I could pull all of them and walk up to the counter, and the LCS owner or the LCS workers will ring me up and allow me to buy them, it's a free market. It's a free country. I can do that. So that's up, and there's a duality here, because it's up to the comic book stores themselves to say, I know as a manager or an owner or whoever is doing the buying or the marketing for the store, say, I'm going to put a 2 or 3 issue limit per customer. But you know what? But I'm not going to get mad at an LCS owner for not doing that. You want to know why? The LCS owner has to make money. So maybe that there's some speculation going on, and you might think this is going to be a hot book. You might think that there's going to be customers coming in and trying to grab them all off the shelf. But what if you're wrong? What if you're wrong and you set a 1 or 2 or 3 limit per customer, and you might get 1 or 2 customers that want to come in and buy more than that, but they buy your limit. But then the hype dies down and you got all these issues sitting on your shelf. We're living through COVID. We're struggling to keep doors open in the first place. So, we could talk ethics, and I can empathize with that. You know, I'm one that'll go into a comic shop and buy multiple copies, but I also would never take all of them off the shelf.
That's yeah.
You gotta really balance it out, and you gotta look at everyone, all the players involved, and understand why keeping this as a free market and as a anything goes type of market, and holding the buyers and the collectors accountable for their own actions and to being savvy to their collecting, hold them responsible to that, because you got to understand you don't have any privilege here. You don't, and you shouldn't, because at the end of the day, it's about people needing, not just wanting to, but needing to make money.
Agreed, 100%. But and I would say, you know, a majority of people who complain about this could have done something about it. A majority. But if you're living somewhere in some remote location that doesn't have a local comic book shop, the news just broke that Ryan Wilder is going to be in this issue, right? You don't have a local comic book shop to go to call. Jumping on the computer, already those issues are like, you know, 20 times what the price is. It can get, I can see why people would get frustrated with those types of scenarios. Now,
I understand getting frustrated too. I mean, that's but to point blank. And I guarantee you, and I don't know for a fact, but I am confident in making this statement and making this claim that as soon as Ryan Wilder was announced for this book, I guarantee you could still buy it on Midtown Comics for at least cover price, if not 15% off.
Okay, but there still may not be people who are by their computer at that time. They may have gotten they may have a buddy texting them or whatever that they're like, I can't get to my, you know what I mean? I'm just saying, like, again,
you have it on your phone. If your buddy's texting them,
here we go.
What do you have on your phone? Midtown Comics.
All right. Anyways, that's our top 10 hottest comic books of the week. This conversation probably to be continued, but we will be back again next week with a brand new list.